Sound and social domination. Here in here on Capitol Hill in Seattle, a city in Washington state, the local folks and the people who are aware and recognize the problem and solve the dilemma have what they call a community. The women joyously walk with the men, and the men roar like animals in the wild. And since I've moved here, I've been totally baffled what the big excitement has to do with in this part of the city now. There's no businesses. There's like an eat local place down the street. There's a grocery store where all the anarchists steal from, and you can't even use one of the exits anymore and check out. They funneled everybody in through the front entrance during the coronavirus, and then normally there is a side entrance that smells like urine. And the sound starts to be apparent when brain waves start to get a part of this world I'm talking about now. They control the alpha, they control all of the power and the strength. And what is so freakishly scary has to do with the racism and inequality and all the slavery they just proclaim other people have to do with now. And they're moving past all of that horribleness. In the way that the white man controlled the black man, the African American woman, during the times of slavery had to do a lot with this kind of dominance. Dominating with the brain and making these rules and these restrictions and creating laws. And now, after all of the abolished stupidity from history, not necessarily indescribable from what they had available then, now. And what's very, very disturbing with all of now has to do with how much is available to these people who are having this dominance in these large groups, in these mobs, in these formed almost entities on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then websites where they connect, apartment complexes where they all make noise the same time every day, blowing a whistle and yelling and screaming. Now, they've almost simply said, okay, the laws are gone. Now all we need are for everyone to be a part of the social group and all do what's decided with all those people. Taxing and taking and then giving, solving climate change with behavior, limiting the stimulus, taking away the business, and giving people opportunity in the world to meet one another, join forces and mingle. And for ethnicities and dialects, different cultures, and different humans who don't have a deficit with the social part of their brain, such as someone who's mildly autistic like me now, receive the same benefit as going to the nice restaurant and having a good dinner, eating a lunch and taking a break from neuroscience and applying to medical school. They go to the grocery store whenever they want. They go to each other's place, they party, eat together, yell together, vote together, and fix the world together now. The visual discrimination, the visual dominance with the social group I'm talking about now doesn't need much explanation. They've now said, don't look white, say very little, love every last cell on the body, on the planet. And get rid of the police now. Written on shirts, clothing, and provided with food in the protest zone. Soviet images and symbols, anarchist writing. And then there's no image. Sound goes silent. And there's this calm now. And part of how they're achieving this kind of domination, similar to what people did with slaves. Because if anyone doesn't want to join them, they're screwed in Seattle. There ain't nowhere to go downtown. They destroyed the businesses, boarded them up, and now people are moving out of state saying enough's enough. I don't want to have to deal with gangs and thugs anymore and people who say they are the solution to the problem, and the problem has to do with the person standing in their way now. And normally there'd be one person saying these words now, and people say, why are you so demanding? I get what you're saying, but you can't just tell people what they need to do. You need to help them understand and also assist them to not need help anymore. You can't just say you're gonna be their friend, their buddy forever. You're gonna be that little, person in the South in the old days who used to have that slave and say, yeah, I'll be your master. You just pick master's fruit and cotton and you get a place to live in my house. And now in this world now, you get a place to live in their city here in Washington State. And the only rules have to do with don't leave the home, don't ever get homeless, or their drug addict buddies and assistant friends who they're helping now, and to encourage these social groups as if they're a part of the gang. Mafias do groups, gangs, they get together. And now There's all these people who say they're going to end a word, they're going to stop a sentence, and how they're doing the work to stop all of this language, these letters, has to do with everybody working together and getting rid of anyone in the way now. And then there's other people who cheer each other on, they inspire, they encourage, they motivate, and declare self-reliance. And now the big conclusion, with the self-reliance being a viable choice, being one now. A Gandhi against a mob, riot, group, social entity, movement, protest, declaration for revolution and change now. Watching, like in the movies, an asteroid coming, and instead of trying to get a gun and shoot it out of the sky, now the safest, most peaceful, and most gosh darn ethical choice has to do with watching and allowing consciousness to save the last remaining days alive, the last hours before death. These are people who observe, keep track of other noises, and they get mad at the sirens and why they want the police gone. They're just getting freaked out by all of that scariness. Doing what the master did to the bad word they called a human in the old days. Making people behave in a certain recognizable, identifiable energy. And the only beauty I can see going forward in this world now, in Seattle, Washington, 17 years ago or so when I moved out here, a beautiful, awesome place, now gets shrunk, gets smashed and ruined and transformed into an apartment. They provide for me now and give me now in their earth and planet now. Social domination with slavery, gosh. Sounds and visual identification, observing, and then restricting and limiting and controlling. Oh, that's nice. The end.